Very good evening to you and welcome to our Primetime News. I'm Sandro Ferdinando.
And I'm Aishwarya Pinto. News First today marks a new milestone in Sri Lankan media history, celebrating 20 years in reporting the news to Sri Lanka and the world.
We thank our viewers for being with News First for the past 2 decades. With that being said, let's start with a look at our headlines.
President decides to convene a special cabinet meeting to discuss the issues surrounding avant-garde.
කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයට සම්පූර්ණ බලය දෙනවා. කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයේ තීන්දුව පරිදි සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම නිවැරදි කරගෙන වැඩපිළිවෙල ශක්තිමත් ඉස්සරහට යන්න.
Justice Minister Vijayadasa Rajapaksa alleges that a media institution is attempting to obtain the avant-garde contract for a maritime security company. Newsfirst, Sri Lanka's #1 news provider, marks 20 years. Madden Julian oscillations affect the weather in Sri Lanka.
President Maithripala Sirisena today announced that Cabinet will convene for a special meeting in order to take decisions pertaining to fraud and corruption investigations, including those related to avant-garde.
President Maithripala Sirisena made this statement while addressing a public meeting at the Lakkala police grounds.
ඊයේ කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයේදී ඇතිවෙච්ච සාකච්ඡාවලදී avant-garde.
A debate took place among the ministers at the cabinet meeting that took place last evening. As we had other matters to attend to at the meeting, I concluded the matters in the agenda. Then I noted in order to carry out the investigations on fraud and corruption, including avant-garde, in a proper manner and to proceed with these matters, I will strengthen the task. After taking into consideration the criticism and the shortcomings, I will convene a special cabinet meeting in order to take decisions on this. I notified the secretary to the cabinet on this matter when I left Colombo this morning. A special cabinet meeting will be convened. Cabinet will be vested with the power to take decisions surrounding these matters and address the shortcomings to proceed further. I respect the opinion of the majority.
නිවැරදි කරගෙන වැඩපිළිවෙල ශක්තිමත් ඉස්සරහට යන්න. ඒ නිසා මම හැම වෙලෙම වැඩි දෙනාගේ මතයට කටයුතු කරනවා.
President Maithripala Sirisena undertook an observation of the Moragahakanda Kaluganga development project site today. The President also placed the precious items under the main dam, which is constructed across the Amban Ganga. The Moragahakanda project is the biggest multifunctional irrigation project in Sri Lanka. President also pledged to expedite the process of providing compensation to those who lost lands as a result of this project.
Speaking at a media briefing today, Minister of Justice Vijayadasa Rajapaksa said that a certain media institution is making an attempt to obtain the avant-garde contract for a maritime security company.
මේ වෙනකොට සමාගම් කීපයක් කරා
There is an attempt to have close contact with the security units of the country through certain companies in order to get matters done through the security sector. Therefore, a media campaign took place several months. What this media institution want is to remove that contract from the grasp of avant-garde and obtain the contract for a maritime security company which they are preparing to register. For this, they went behind the persons in the government. They were slinging mud at the Aegis department and criticized the police and the subject ministers. They created an opinion in the country citing that avant-garde was a threat to the nation. They attempted to take it away from avant-garde and give it to their institution.
ඒ හරහා මේ කෙතනින් ගලවලා තමන්ගේ ආයතනයට මේ සේවය ලබා ගන්න මේ ආයතනය කටයුතු කරනවා.
Two of the powerful ministers in the government, Rajit Senratna, Party Champika Ranawaka and Anurukumar Disanayaka, have been making allegations over the avant-garde matter from within Parliament and outside of Parliament. Are you of the view that the allegations made by them are false?
I
will not speak of the opinions of others. I am the Justice Minister and I know the law. We are aware of the procedure followed in implementing the law of the country. No matter what people say, the state of the nation would be the stance of the Attorney General. He had made this stance clear.
ඔබතුමා දිගින් දිගටම පසුගිය මාස 10 මේ කැබිනට් සාකච්ඡාවේ කියන හැම වෙලේම අවන්ගාඩ් සම්බන්ධයෙන් නීති අනුකූල ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා. කියන ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා කියන එක මත කරා. නමුත් දැන් පොලිසිය බාර ඔබතුමාගේ ආණ්ඩුවේ අමාත්‍යවරයා කියනවා මේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෙමෙයි පොලිසියට වැරදිලා කියලා. මොකක්ද ඔබතුමා දැන් කියන්නේ මේක?
පොලිසිය නෙවෙයි ඒගොල්ලන් නම් වැරදිලා. ඇටර්නි ජෙනරල් රිපෝට් එක.
The police did not make a mistake. It is they who are mistaken. This is the Attorney General's report. This is the report which also states that Gotabaya Rajapaksa will have to be arrested. I took my seat as a member of the National Executive Council. The Attorney General's department informed us that arrests will have to be made and it is a criminal act. It was said that all those connected will be arrested by Thursday. The following Tuesday, we questioned why the arrests were not made. They said that the Tamil translation of the indictment was not ready. That week also passed. We again questioned this on the Tuesday that followed. Then they said that this is not a criminal matter but a civil matter. The AG's department said that a certain minister had influence on them. At that time, the Prime Minister had asked 2 ministers with legal backgrounds to assist the Attorney General's department. One of those ministers appeared for the cases on behalf of Avantgarde. He had asked the AG's department to not object this matter. Why was this government established? The civil organizations and the other organizations all wanted to put a complete stop to the corruption in the country. You are also intelligent as I am. Think about this situation and the reasons behind this.
Government and opposition representatives commented on the issue surrounding Avantgarde today as well.
The collective of citizen organizations convened a media briefing in Colombo.
Minister of Law and Order Tilak Marapana announced in Parliament that legal action cannot be taken on the issues surrounding Avantgarde. We see this as a very wrong statement. We condemn this statement. Does Minister Tilak Marapana have the right to make such a statement? He may have been a lawyer and Avantgarde may have been his client. But he is a parliamentarian and a minister. He has no moral right to make such statements. The law in the country is implemented in one way for a certain group and in another way for another group. Tilak Marapana is not a stakeholder in the struggle carried out by the civil organizations and the public before the 8th of January. It is clear that before the 8th of January, he was with that institution. He is a consultant to that company. He was protecting that company. For a person who thinks wise, giving a person like that the Minister of Law and Order is something serious. Tilak Marapana is not suitable for that position.
Following an event in Wattala today, journalists questioned Minister John Amarathunga over the Avantgarde matter.
I do not know whether it was done to score brownie points or for any other matter. However, the opposition made a serious accusation that it was being undermined. I do not know the truth to this. I cannot speak on cabinet secrets.
Former Navy Commander Admiral Jayantha Pereira was summoned before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry to investigate serious acts of fraud and corruption today. He was summoned to give a statement with regard to an investigation into the Rakna Arakshaka Lanka Limited.
I was summoned to make an explanation on the relationship between Rakna Arakshaka Lanka and Avantgarde when I was serving as the Navy Commander. When serving as an accountable state official, we need to provide a direct answer to know whether corruption had taken place. I cannot detail on that. As we served our duties, there is an ongoing investigation as well. You can understand that. Avantgarde and Rakna Arakshaka Lanka joined and formed a business. The Navy was vested with a task, and the Navy performed that task. That is all.
The Department of Meteorology says that Madden-Julian oscillations have affected the country. It adds that under the Madden-Julian oscillations, heavy showers of more than 100 millimeters can be expected over the island during the next few days.
Sri Lanka is facing the inter-monsoon weather. If you consider the present weather conditions, we can see an increase in the rainfall as a result of the Madden-Julian oscillations. The Madden-Julian oscillation is the largest element of the interseasonal variability in the tropical atmosphere. It will last for 30 to 60 days. The Madden-Julian oscillations moves around the globe. Therefore, we are experiencing rains at present. We are also facing the El Nino situation. El Nino is the warm phase of the El Nino southern oscillation and is associated with a band of warm ocean water that develops in the central and east-central equatorial Pacific. Therefore, Sri Lanka will experience heavy rainfall during the months of October and November.
Landslide warnings issued to 8 districts as a result of the inclement weather has been extended. The Disaster Management Centre said that landslide warnings issued for the Munragala, Badulla, Nuwara, Kegol, Kandy, Kaluthura, Kurunegala and Ratnapura districts will be in effect. Heavy rains affected normal life in many parts of the island today as well. Several reservoirs in the Nuwara district have reached spill level, while the spill gates of some have been opened. Our correspondent reports that the Castlereagh and Vimalasura reservoirs have reached spill level. Water levels of the Upper Kotmale reservoir have also risen, prompting to open 3 spill gates. 2 spill gates of the Lakshmana reservoir were also opened. The Atambagashandi area on the Bulat Singhala Mulkava main road was inundated as a result of the rising waters of the Kukule river. Transportation in the area was affected and boats were deployed to move persons to different locations. A landslide in the Hiloya area in Bandaravilla affected the operations on the upcountry railroad. The railways control room said that operations were restored this evening. 45 families living in the Killaston estate in Nanoya who were affected by the floods have been moved to safer locations. Heavy rains also affected the Atlo estate in Angarapatana, forcing around 25 families to move to safer locations. The Konvava road in Katagas Digilia, in close proximity to the Thonigala tank, was washed away by floodwaters.
United People's Freedom Alliance parliamentarian Dallas Alhaperima raised a question in Parliament today on the Colombo-Kandy Expressway.
The previous government was accused of following an unsolicited process in providing tenders and constructions. You created a massive protest and public opinion in this regard. You said that it was wrong. Are you not following that same process on the first phase of the Colombo-Kandy Expressway, which is 37 kilometers?
The interest rates are very low. Back then interest rates were 8%.
Are you not following the same process?
I do not remember any topic where the words unsolicited were mentioned. We always spoke on the interest rate.
China Metallic Corporation
An unsolicited agreement had been reached with China Metallic Corporation to construct a section of this. If that agreement was cancelled, we will have to provide compensation. What happened was a change in the phase. It was you who provided that phase of construction. We are carrying the sins of the previous government.
Five local contractors were given the construction of the Colombo-Kandy Expressway, 4.48 billion rupees per kilometer. You might recall that when a 6-lane road costs 4.48 billion rupees per kilometer, questions were raised as to whether this road will be constructed with the use of gold. Society might raise questions as to where the construction will be made with the use of gold and platinum.
Even after going to Malaysia, the VOT was 60 billion in 2004. Today this road will be built for 325 million. If this bothered you so much in 2005, why didn't you fix the road once you came into power? When you lost the elections in the Kandy district by 75,000 votes, Mahinda Rajapaksa said that he will not construct roads for Kandy.
Without starting construction in Kandy or Kadawatha, they held ceremonies midway. What I mean is that the road was constructed from Putuhara to Rambukkana, but there was no road from Rambukkana and no road to come to Colombo either. Please listen to what I am saying. They came and said that they have taken the contract and they will file cases against us and seek compensation. They have taken commissions and now want us to pay compensation. We will give the opportunity for local contractors. We are having discussions with the World Bank. Any contractor can make claim through transparency. What is the cost we would have to bear in making a road from Katunayaka to Kandy rather than from Kadawatha to Kandy? What we need to do is find out who pocketed the money.
Your current state minister Dilan Pereira provided the bottles of poison when speaking on this expressway.
Money was given under the table. They told this to us.
Newsfirst, which changed the way news was reported in Sri Lanka, celebrates its 20th anniversary today.
MTV MBC Media Networks, owned by the Capital Maharaja organization, took its first ever step in airing news on the 2nd of March 1995. This was through its radio stations Sirasa FM and Yes FM. Today marks 20 years since news was aired on the MTV channel on the 6th of November 1995. Newsfirst, which made a giant leap in adding the unexpected and unseen to its news prints, won hundreds of news bulletins daily in Sinhala, Tamil and English through TV channels Sirasa TV, Shakti TV and MTV, through radio stations Sirasa FM, Shakti FM, Yes FM, YFM and Legends, and through its award-winning website www.Newsfirst.lk. This is done with the joint efforts of an island-wide correspondent base, over 20,000 new reporters, international bureau correspondents and Newsfirst reporters. Newsfirst is committed to report and break the news to the public as and when it happens. Newsfirst always gave priority to the nation through its reporting tagline, "We report, you decide." It is because of that very reason people from all walks of life joined hands with us when we initiated the Sahana Yatra campaign to respond to the natural disasters that affected the country. Your life, our news. The Ranbhoomi Rally for Unity aimed at building national unity among all Sri Lankans. The National Anti-Drug Drive, Think and Don't campaigns aimed at electing untainted public representatives for the happiness of our children. The general public joined hands with us as they place their trust on us. Newsfirst, which inquires into the shortcomings in the country, decided to take action to launch an awareness campaign that put a stop to the human-elephant conflict, as the conflict was costing the lives of many wild elephants. Newsfirst became the voice of the villagers through Newsfirst Gammadda. The democracy of the country was further established through our programs Minnal, Satana, Davasa, Satya, Ilakya, Newsline, Face the Nation, Pathikada, Face to Face and Janata Vedikava. We at Newsfirst were able to impact the sporting arena in the country through our innovative sports programs such as Gamata Krida, Platinum Awards and the first of its kind sports reality TV program Super Fighter. Newsfirst Classroom and Danamudasaya, which aims to educate the students on media literacy and leadership, We Awards, organized to recognize, inspire and honor Sri Lanka's volunteers, are also efforts undertaken by Newsfirst. We do not limit ourselves to the national arena alone. Newsfirst was recently awarded the opportunity to be a part of the United Nations World Humanitarian Summit. Newsfirst, which has set the path for news reporting in the 21st century, will continue to strive further in its media service while opening new avenues and conquer new frontiers.
Newsfirst. ඔබේ ජීවිතය අපේ බ්ලොග්. News First. 20 years of undisputed leadership.
Economists say there are certain issues surrounding the implementation of the proposals that were made in the government's midterm economic policy. Delivering the economic policy of the government in Parliament yesterday, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said that the country's economy will see a number of reforms taking place in the next 2 years.
At a first glance, the economic policy statement of the Prime Minister appears to be a visionary statement, well thought, looking at the long term, to deliver prosperity and growth for the country and all its people. But when you look at it a little bit more deeper, I think there's one fundamental flaw in it. It is a statement where the dangers of not realizing are not apprised to the Parliament nor the people. When you come to the details, I think the details lack transparency. For instance, where will we find the money to buy all the agricultural produce, to fund the megapolis developments, rural development, war-affected country being developed?
Now, my simple opinion on the speech by the Honourable Prime Minister yesterday, it is go beyond what they have promised in last January and then thereafter the general election. And I don't know how public will take this policy regime. Now, what is the government is trying to do is to get the market to involve more than that of the public sector to run the economy. That may be the reason why they are setting up this Singapore-style management mechanism to run the public sector institution, and also to merge the EPF and ETF and to have a bigger fund to support the pensioners.
I think the UNP and SLFP coalition government today is trying to introduce those neoliberalist policies in a too harsh form, and that can be seen in the proposed labour legislations as well as his suggestion to reform the Employers Provident Fund and the Employees Trust Fund, uniting them into one trust and appointing a so-called independent commission to look after it. And also we can see the idea of implementing low tax economy, but there is a contradiction. He wants to increase income tax from the present 20% of the total government revenue to 40% of the total government revenue. But at the same time, he wanted to reduce income taxes, profit taxes and wealth taxes. So it's very difficult to say how he is going to achieve this tax changes.
The UN Human Rights Commissioner's Office says that the United Nations Working Group on Enforced or Involuntary Disappearances will undertake an official visit to Sri Lanka from 9th to the 18th November 2015 at the invitation of the Sri Lankan government.
The statement from the OHCHR says the working group is comprised of 5 independent experts from all regions of the world. The chair rapporteur would be Horia Salami from Morocco, and the vice chair is Bernard Duhem from Canada. The other members are Chai Ung-baik from the Republic of Korea, Ariel Dulitsky from Argentina, and Henrikas Mikavicius from Lithuania. The Office of the High Commission for Human Rights says that during the mission, the UN experts will study the measures adopted by the state to prevent and eradicate enforced disappearances, including issues related to truth, justice and reparation for the victims of enforced disappearances. The working group will start and end the visit in Colombo and will travel to Jaffna, Kilinochchi, Mana, Mullaitivu, Batticaloa, Matale, Trincomalee, Ampara and Galle. The expert body will meet with state officials, both at the central and provincial levels, as well as with relatives of disappeared people, representatives of civil society organizations, and relevant UN agencies. The final report on the visit will be presented to the UN Human Rights Council in September 2016.
The 49th Annual General Meeting and the 60th Anniversary celebrations of the International Chamber of Commerce of Sri Lanka was held in Colombo yesterday. Awards were presented to past presidents and long-served members in recognition of their service at the Chamber of Commerce. The Maldives Parliament approved a state of emergency imposed by President Abdullah Yameen yesterday and used extraordinary powers to sack his Vice President Ahmed Adib despite mounting international concern. This is the second time someone has been removed from the position in 6 months. All 61 parliamentarians voted in favour of the impeachment, while the main opposition party, the Maldivian Democrat.
Minister of Sports has taken steps to suspend the presentation of permanent appointments to a group of employees who serve the Sri Lanka cricket on contract basis. And with that, we wrap up Primetime News.